I suppose my first question is, you know, you listen to Joe Biden and what he's had to say. In many ways, he actually makes sense, you could argue, in that he's saying this is a war that most Americans wanted to come to an end. There was never an ideal time for it to happen. Whether it was 2 years, 5 years, the Taliban probably were at some stage going to resurge. And that he was sticking by a deadline that, frankly, his predecessor had set out.
Well, of course, that's the standard narrative in the United States. But the truth is that if you examine why we went into Afghanistan in the very first place, it was to deny terrorists, the Islamists that were so dangerous in the world, a base of operations from which to attack the democracies of the world. And today, Mr. Biden has left Afghanistan in a far worse position, in a far more dangerous position than when we went in the first place. And there's just no way to turn this to anything but an unmitigated disaster. And to blame Donald Trump, who would have certainly handled this differently, it was just his nature. I mean, when Iran's terrorists threatened the world, Mr. Obama sent them cash. When the Syrian terrorists threatened America, Mr. Trump sent them missiles. There was a difference of attitude, and I will suggest to you that this has a profound impact in the architectural structure of the world, really. The terrorists have been emboldened, evil has been empowered, and countries like China have an opportunity to move in and kind of displace an opportunity to really make it a dangerous step in the wrong direction here. So I just have to say that I can't, in my memory, remember a more mishandled situation militarily.
But from what Biden said yesterday, he's making it very clear that America's role as a sort of policeman of the world, he doesn't want it to take up that role anymore. Well,
then who should do that? I mean, do we stand by and let democracies and freedom be destroyed? I mean, God has given America the most powerful military on earth. It's still the unipolar superpower of the world. And certainly none of us want to see any one country be the policeman of the world. But you hear that phrase all the time. And it's really an abrogation of his responsibilities as commander-in-chief. It wasn't just the idea of withdrawing from Afghanistan. He left it in a moment to where the people who had helped us so much there were left betrayed. I mean, I hear the statesmen here in the UK speaking on, and I agree with them completely. The United Kingdom has been incredibly loyal to the United States. They've been incredibly committed to the cause of human freedom, and we have betrayed our allies in many ways. I'm here in England trying to help protect the grids, both of the United States and America, from potential military attack. And I will just say to you, we have tremendous partnership. And when we betray our allies like this among all the innocent people in Afghanistan, it's a terrible thing.
We'll come on to kind of the so-called special relationship in a moment. But what you could argue is, and this may be somewhat surprising, is that Joe Biden is essentially actually in line with Donald Trump on this. And they're square away from George W. Bush. Yeah. I mean, George W. Bush was someone who was trying to spread democracy around the world. The invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq was part of that. But actually, Joe Biden's doing America first here. He's putting American interests first. He's ending these wars, which Donald Trump also campaigned on. Donald Trump, the reason he didn't get involved in places like Syria is that, we do not want to be this interventionist force around the world. Joe Biden's on the same page as President Trump on this.
Well, that's what Mr. Biden would have you believe. But the truth is, I know President Trump very well, and I know Joe Biden very well personally. And there could not be a more stark difference between two human beings and two leaders. There's no question that Joe Biden, in essentially withdrawing America in this haphazard, chaotic fashion, has weakened the United States and has put us in a position where we may have to fight terrorists again, either on the battlefields of Afghanistan or the streets of the United States.
Do you think there really was a credible alternative for Biden to follow then?
Oh, yes. I think, first of all, I saw a joke the other day about Sun Tzu said, never abandon your most strategic air base before withdrawal. The idea that we would not get our people out first and not to protect them in the interim is just an insane kind of thing. And the women in Afghanistan now are in an incredibly untenable position. And the people who helped us there, my God, they're going door to door, murdering these people. And the truth is that it couldn't have been handled much more worse.
But at the same time, I mean, sorry, not to go back to this, but at the same time, you know, they're a pretty abhorrent regime. No one disagrees with that. But at the end of the day, I mean, this has all come about because President Trump did sign a deal with the Taliban. He sat down and negotiated with them.
His deal was conditional,
yeah.
and it was very conditional. And I will assure you that I know him well enough that he certainly would not have handled it in this fashion. In fact, he may have extended our time. There's a lot of different things, but he would not have left the fallen men and women behind.
Just very finally, because you are here in England, and we just kind of want to get a sense of what you do think of the special relationship, because there is certainly a sense here that there was very little communication. You know, President Biden only picked up the phone to Boris Johnson twice. That there was no real consideration of the British position on this by the current US administration, and that, as some UK politicians said, that the special relationship is at a very, very low ebb.
Well, it genuinely hurts me to absolutely agree with that situation. I truly believe that we let England down. We let our ally down here. And I have an inordinate love for Great Britain in general. I just think the history here is astonishing, and it wouldn't surprise me if you chose to revoke our independence the way we're handling ourselves. But the truth is that we let not only our ally in Great Britain down, but we let our allies down all over the world. And we have made this world a more dangerous place to live in. And to trade Donald Trump for Biden, Mr. Trump may not have spoken diplomat, but we made a terrible trade, and I'm afraid that the consequences are still going to be growing in the days ahead.